Welcome to Golden Isles TV. We are here with Leah from Keep Golden Isles Beautiful and Garrow from Public Works. They're representing the city today. We're so excited to have you on the City Show. This is awesome and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. So let's get started. Tell us about, there's a new trash initiative. And we don't know what it's all about, so maybe y'all could fill us in.
Really, it's not necessarily new information. It's just a push to get some existing information out there and refresh that information so that everybody knows what is not acceptable, when stuff is picked up, how to have stuff picked up. So it's just sort of a refresher of existing information, more or less. So
okay, we always need that.
Right. You know, there's several different types of waste that we pick up in the city. So just kind of want to talk, let everybody know the differences of each type. They're on different pickup schedules. Different types of trash can be picked up in each category. So just want to make sure everybody's clear on that so that their trash can be picked up as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
And Garrow's right. It's sort of like a refresher course of City Trash Pickup 101.
Yes. I'm so glad. This is really important. I know to Regina, to Miss McDuffie, who's the city manager. It's important for the whole city because it's a reflection of the city as far as people coming in and enjoying the city, but also just people that are living there and, trying to keep things cleaned up. And it can be confusing. Garrow, I know we did a show, it's been a couple of years, I think, where we actually had, the trash receptacle, the recycle, and then we even talked about what can and can't be recycled, what can and can't go in the trash, what should go in the trash and when the pickup days are for bulk pickup. So maybe you could kind of talk about those different categories, like you were saying, and let us know about that.
Right. So the first two categories you mentioned there are household trash and recycling. So every property in the city has a container for each. You have a trash container and you have a recycling container. Mm-hmm. Trash container is just that. Household trash, bagged trash, from your kitchen, from your household. Recycling then is a good bit more specific on what can go in that recycling container. Single stream items such as paper, cardboard,
aluminum,
metal cans, plastic containers.
Hard plastic.
Right, hard plastic, not like cellophane type plastic, but hard plastic containers. And the containers, if they're acceptable for recycling, will have a little triangular logo on them, imprinted on them. So those can go in there. They can't take anything
wet or soiled.
That's right. With food debris on it or anything, any kind of like biodegradable materials on it. Everything has to be recyclable material. And the reason for that is that the trash streams go to two different places. The household trash goes to the landfill, but the recycling goes to a facility in Jacksonville and then, on down the stream for recycling. But if the recycling stream is contaminated with, like you say, wet items or food debris or stuff like that that's not recyclable, then that load gets rejected and it ends up going to the same place as the landfill where the household trash goes. So that's the reason for what we can and can't take, is because they're going in two different directions. And we want to keep that recycling going to the recycling center as much as possible.
And if I can add, we at Keep Golden Isles Beautiful acknowledge that recycling can be very what you can and can't recycle is dependent upon what community you live in. And that's what you can and can't recycle is dependent upon where your recycling ends up and what that facility will accept. So just because in Waycross, for instance, you can recycle XYZ doesn't mean that you can in the city of Brunswick. And the city of Brunswick has a great resource on their website. We do as well on kgib.org about what you can and can't recycle. And we like to say, know before you throw. Do not wish cycle. Wish cycling can be just as harmful for the recycling stream as putting the wrong thing in. If you're not sure if it can be recycled or not, either check one of our websites or just simply throw it in the trash. Another point that can be confusing is that the trash can trash, everything should be in knotted, tied bags. There should be no loose items in the trash can. Whereas on the other side, in recycling, everything needs to be loose. And there are no bags allowed. And again, as Garrow mentioned, the recycling symbol with the numbers, that is a great indicator of what can be accepted if it's on the city's accepted list. Where confusion really starts is you see things like styrofoam cups or plastic bags that will have the recycle symbol and a number on them. But those cannot go in our particular residential recycling stream. And at Keep Golden Isles Beautiful, we answer questions all the time about proper disposal of household hazardous waste, of where to recycle what in our community. And we keep a lot of resources on our website that will tell people, for instance, where you can take your plastic bags, where you can take your recycling. So we know that it can be confusing to people, and that's why the city is working extra hard to refresh this current information to help people better understand so they can properly follow both the trash and recycling rules and regulations.
One other thing to note, is glass cannot go in the recycling. Republic, who handles our trash collection, does have a facility at their plant where they can take glass. So there's one on the island as well, where they can take glass bottles and glass containers, but those glass products cannot go into your recycling container at home. So that's just as harmful to the stream as food products or any other non-recyclable item.
Right. Yeah. I want to talk. This is great information. And Leah, I'm so glad you brought up some of those points. It is very confusing because let's talk about three things that I think confuse people: styrofoam, glass, like Garrow, you just mentioned, and pizza boxes. So pizza boxes are interesting because you think cardboard, let me throw this in the recycle, I'm doing a good thing. But actually, as you said, Garrow, the food particles, the grease, the food, the moisture, the wetness actually will mess up the rest of the recycle, and then it all goes in the trash in the landfill. And so you should have thrown that pizza box in the trash.
That's exactly right.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Or one of the other things you could do is rip off the part of the pizza box that is not soiled, that has no residue of food and is not moist, and then just rip that part off and put it in recycling. You could do that. It requires a little more elbow grease, but that's acceptable too, as long as it is completely residue and moisture free.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think that is, to me, that's the biggest thing, because everybody's throwing those pizza boxes in there. And sometimes it's a little easier. They have the paper, and you can just lift the paper out. It depends on that. It depends. You have to, as you said, you have to know before you throw. You've got to really look at that.
And you know that you mentioned specifically pizza boxes being cardboard. That leads to another bit of confusion, which is waxed cardboard, such as your milk cartons or your orange juice cartons or even frozen food containers. If there is a waxy film on that cardboard, it cannot go in our recycling stream. Yet another way to be easily confused. You see cardboard, you see a recycle symbol, and you think, this can go in my bin, but you need to check and know before you throw, because that's a big no-no in our community.
Another thing similar to that is a container. These containers, any container needs to be clean and, free of whatever was in it. But say a toothpaste container, a tube of toothpaste is marked recyclable and everything, but obviously you're never going to get all the toothpaste out of that thing. So, there's always toothpaste on the inside. So that will contaminate their machines, contaminate the load. So even though a container may be marked on the outside that it's recyclable, you need to keep in mind, is this clean and not going to contaminate the system.
Yes. It's frustrating though sometimes, and like you said, easily confusing when you turn around and look at that. Oh, this can be recycled, but it doesn't have instructions for how, what you're supposed to do to be able to put it in the recycle. So that's why this information is so important. Let's talk about styrofoam. That is not something that can be recycled, right?
Not in our community. The only location that we have found within the Golden Isles community that will accept styrofoam is at Publix. And Publix has 2 bins on either side of their front doors on the sidewalk that people can put the styrofoam in there. And what happens is when they collect enough styrofoam and they have an empty 18-wheeler going back to their headquarters in Florida, they fill it up with styrofoam, take it to their headquarters in Florida, and then they pay a company to recycle it, to melt it down into styrofoam bricks. So they absorb that cost as a service to the community.
Okay. Wow. Yes. There's a lot that goes into this that I don't think people realize. But I think that's a good point to, and I'm sure you said this is on the website, but example, Publix or Harris Teeter, Winn-Dixie has these recycle bins right out front. So, for some special things like the plastic bags.
Right, like the plastic bags. And again, at kgib.org, we keep something called a recycle grid, which is a living document out in cyberspace that people can download and print out. And it is a guide to where you can take what in our community to be recycled, such as what to do with styrofoam, what to do with stretchy plastic or film plastic, which is what comes around your newspaper and around your dry cleaning, and all sorts of different things that are not allowed in your home recycling bin. We give direction as to where you can take it within our community. Some of the items even are marked to call our office so that we can talk people through the process if it's a little more complicated. But we encourage people to check our website for this wonderful resource, and it can really help guide folks and cut down on the confusion.
Yes, exactly. That's an excellent resource. kgib.org. Keep Golden Isles beautiful. But when in doubt, or you can't find it through the website, just call. So that's a great idea. Okay, let's move on to Garrow. Maybe you can address, we talked about bulk pickup and some different things relating to trash.
Yes, bulk pickups are a service that the city offers. They offer a bulk pickup per property or per residence every month. They get 1 bulk pickup per month. That is a scheduled pickup to pick up larger items, exactly that, bulky items, whether it be appliances, furniture, stuff like that will not fit in your trash container. So rather than just, throw it out on the ground or whatever, we ask that you call us, schedule that pickup, and the city will come by and pick that up for you. Those are done on Saturdays, and they're scheduled. So we ask that you call. The public service number, the public works number is 912-267-3703. And let us know, give us your address, and they'll ask what items you have to be picked up. And then, like I said, it's done on Saturdays. So we would ask that probably the Friday before or even early Saturday morning that you put those out. Don't necessarily put those out today when your bulk pickup may not be scheduled until, say, next Saturday, because then stuff sits out there for a week or so. And, as stuff tends to grow, people come by and throw additional stuff on there and stuff that may not be suitable for a bulk pickup. And by not suitable, I mean, we can't pick up construction debris. We can't pick up chemicals, chemical containers, paint thinners, those kind of items. Cleaning products can't go in the bulk pickup pile. Tires, automotive batteries, automotive parts that may have fluids or those kind of things in them. Again, kind of like the recycling, it needs to be a dry, sort of clean, relatively clean material, not contaminated with fluids or chemicals or that kind of thing. But again, just call that number, tell us you have a bulk pickup. the receptionist or the operator will schedule that pickup for you and let you know which day it will be picked up, and then you can put it out, and the city will come by and pick it up, or Republic Services does that for the city. So,
Okay. Let's go back and be a little bit more specific about what can be picked up. For example, you have an old sofa. Can you put that on the on the side of the road to be picked up, or are we talking about more like leaves and you know what I'm saying, like yard debris?
no, well, and we do have a category for yard debris. Bulk pickups are for exactly that: sofas, furniture, chairs, mattresses, love seats, that kind of thing. Appliances, maybe your washer goes out, you put your old washing machine outside. Roll of carpet or something like that. Washer, dryer, stove, any large appliances like that. And it can be multiple appliances. Maybe, you got a couple of appliances and a couch. Maybe you're kind of redoing your house. All of those can go out in one bulk pickup. But it's exactly that. It's for the larger items, those bulky items. For the yard debris, that's picked up on a regular scheduled. Yard debris is picked up on the same day as your trash pickup, which is weekly. That is items that go out from just your regular yard maintenance. Leaves, trimmings, grass clippings, pruning trimmings, that kind of thing. There are a couple of restrictions there. Limbs in there must be shorter than 5 feet and smaller than 4 inches in diameter. The intent of the yard debris service is to pick up trash or debris from just general weekly yard maintenance and that kind of thing, maybe spring cleaning or that kind of thing. Since we can't burn in the city, we offer this service for residents to be able to get rid of their trash. It's not intended for major land clearing operations. If you have a vacant property beside your house, maybe that you own, and you go through and you do a wholesale land clearing of that property, that's not the intent of this service. This is more of a weekly, maintenance of that, or like I said, for grass clippings, leaves, that kind of thing. Those items, the leaves and what, are not to be bagged. They want those bulk because, again, kind of like the recycling, this is going to a separate facility where all of this vegetated debris is shredded, turned into mulch and other products that are then used to go back out into a community somewhere and used as a ground cover or some kind of material like that. So a bag, where you may think you're doing good by putting all your leaves in a bag and putting the bags out there, those bags then either have to be emptied at the facility or they gum up the machines that are used to shred this material. So if your yard debris is bagged up, it's kind of like the yard trash, it can't go to the intended route. So then it's picked up and treated as trash and goes to the landfill.
And something that Garrow mentioned earlier about piles growing really does applies well to the yard debris, that the yard debris can be on the edge of your yard ready to be picked up, but someone may be walking by and throw out a styrofoam cup or throw out some trash on top of it. So it really is the resident's responsibility the morning that it's to be picked up to make sure it is free of anything that is not the organic yard debris, that there's no trash at all, because that presents a problem as well. So the resident needs to take a little bit of extra responsibility to make sure that morning there's no trash in their yard debris pile, even if it's from someone else passing by and throwing it in there. It still is the same trash and still presents a problem.
Another thing to keep in mind with the yard debris is where you place it along your property or along the street. These items are picked up by a large boom truck with a claw on the end. So you don't want to place it, on top of your water meter or pile it around a fire hydrant right there or something, or next to a power pole and overhead power lines, or maybe under a low hanging tree, which makes it difficult for them to pick up. The best place is an open area with nothing around it. You want to make sure there's not a car that's going to be parked in front of it when the truck will come by, and those kind of things. Make sure that the pile is accessible when the truck comes by to pick that up.
And the city's website does a great job of explaining all of this. So if anyone has a question or is confused, all they need to do is check on the city's website, look under these categories, and all the information that's needed is easily accessible.
Yes, brunswickga.org, and then go to Public Works, and it will be right there. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. Wow. So much information. Who knew there's so much information regarding trash, right? I mean, it's a big thing. So anyway, great information. Let's talk about, I think somebody mentioned the waste that isn't allowed to be picked up. For example, paint thinner, chemicals, that kind of thing. Tell us about that.
So one of the things we do at Keep Golden Isles Beautiful is we use the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Environmental Protection Division's Guide to Proper Disposal of Household Hazardous Waste manual. And folks can call our offices at 912-279-1490, and we answer those questions. And so a lot of times both the city and the county will send questions to us, and residents to us, we will look through the manual, give out the information, and we basically read what the recommended methods are for properly disposing any of those materials.
Right. Okay. Good information. I think what's interesting, I was just realizing that when it comes to trash, household trash that goes in your receptacle, that must be bagged. You really need to think about every piece needs to be in a bag. However, the yard debris does not. So that's an important distinction. I see people all the time getting the hefty bags and filling them with all their yard debris, leaves, etc. But actually you're saying, no, don't bag that up, but be sure to bag your household trash. That's just an important distinction, I think.
And that's why education is such an important factor here. And it's key to keep saying the same message over and over, maybe in different ways, because around our office, we like to say that you don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to trash and recycling, maybe you've heard the rules and regulations at some point, but long ago forgotten them, and you think you're doing the right thing. You don't realize that you're assuming. And so both the city and Keep Golden Isles Beautiful work really hard to keep getting that message out in different ways. And hopefully when ears are receptive or ready to hear that, it will penetrate somebody's brain and make them think, oh, I was doing that wrong all along and didn't realize it. Because not only is there a lot of confusion around all of this, but people truly can be intending to do the right thing and just having no idea that they're being counterproductive.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. I see it every day. I'm sure y'all do too. So yes, anything else you want to touch on or talk about before we wrap it up?
Well, one of the things I would like to touch on is that at Keep Golden Isles Beautiful, we have a lot of ways that people can volunteer to help pick up trash in our community or be involved in trash mitigation efforts, from our Adopt a Highway program to special cleanups to the city's Georgia Cities Week cleanup. We always need volunteers. And by volunteers coming together and helping to remove some of this trash, it alleviates the bulk of the pressure from Public Works to be dealing with other things as well within our city. And it's just a great way to make a difference within our community. You get instant gratification when you're picking up trash. And we have other ways to volunteer as well. But specifically, since we're talking about trash today, we would love for folks to check out our website and find out ways that they can become involved and be part of the solution in the city of Brunswick.
Yes, great. Yeah. I forgot that there was all these opportunities to volunteer. And if you're retired or if you just want to help out on the weekends, whatever, lots of opportunities throughout the year. So check that out.
We like to say we create opportunities for people to make a difference. And, in any community, difference makers lead to a more healthy and vibrant community. And we just want all the difference makers we can get to help us hold the hand of the city and make the city of the Brunswick the best, most vibrant and wonderful place it can be to live, work, and play and visit.
Excellent. Yes.
And then too, remember that it's a community affair. It takes everybody to help keep the city clean. So, don't just throw your trash out in front of your house, or, if you have items, don't just throw them out there and expect it to be picked up. Call in and say, hey, I've got a bulk pickup. Or if you see somebody dumping somewhere, illegal dumping, say, hey, don't, that doesn't go there, or, encourage them to call in and do it the right way. It takes everybody kind of helping along to keep the city clean. And again, if people have questions, they can call our number as to what's acceptable for pickup, or what needs to be scheduled, or what can go in a certain container. That number's 912-267-3703, or like you said, it's on the website. We'll be glad to talk through it and answer any questions that we can about what can be picked up and when it can be picked up, and those kind of things.
And this is the wonderful new resource that the city has come up with in Spanish and English to help alleviate some of the confusion about exactly what Garrow was talking about with bulk pickup, recycling, household trash, and yard debris. So that's hot off the press, and hopefully breaks it down and makes it as easy as possible for people to understand how to do the right thing.
Yes, excellent. Make it consolidated and simple. That sounds great. So we will try to put those numbers on the screen for you, Keep Going Out's beautiful, and for Public Works and trash and the websites and the phone numbers. So we'll definitely do that, so people will have that resource. Garrow, just quickly, one thing, if I think so, let people know that you can't just throw out your bulk items. It's like, oh, I saw so-and-so picking up trash down the street. I'll just throw it here and they'll come pick up mine too. You have to actually schedule a day for them to come. That's or right. They will not pick it up. In other words, they'll pick up down the street and they'll just drive right by your pile because you haven't scheduled the pickup.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. The drivers are not just driving around looking for trash to pick up. They're working off of work orders, and they have designated spots where they're headed. They've been told, go pick up trash at this address. So yeah, if you just throw something out there and it may sit there and who knows how long until, we can't pick up what we don't know is out there. So.
Right. Yes. So it's important to call and schedule the appointment. It's free. It's a free service, and it's once a month. That's pretty big. I mean, you could do a lot of cleaning out each month and have a free service. So that's awesome.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I think we pretty well covered it.
Okay. Great. Well, this has been a great show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The City Show. See you next time.